Happy New Year, everyone! We want to get our art career out of the ground in this year. Let's talk about it. I'm Nando, I'm a professional artist and illustrator, and I'm starting a new studio in a new place. This is kind of my temporary set. Moving out to a place of my own where I can set up everything however I want, where I can focus and have my own space, has made me think a lot about where I came from, how I started, and how I got to a point where I live from my artwork and I can afford the time, energy, and resources to actually start a studio. By the way, it's called Cult Arts. While we talk about this, you're going to see a time-lapse of me working on my first zine of the year. I'm trying to turn a RPG setting that I've been writing about for 5 years now into a actual game you guys can play. It's going to be a solo TTRPG where you can roleplay mages in the actual modern world, trying to survive and make the world magical again. It's going to be awesome. The fact is that, differently from most careers, art doesn't work according to the little template we are taught from childhood, where you go to school and you get good grades and you college and you get a degree, you get a job at a place, pay for your own bills, your own house, and you live forever happily ever after. As far as I've talked to other artists, it's never that simple. Everyone has a wildly different journey about how they got where they are right now. I thought about talking about my own journey and share what I learned from it, so you can kind of skip the hard parts that I had to go through. Well, when I started, I was the stereotypical art kid. I was introverted, shy, I drew all day long in class. I was kind of weird, I had a lot of very specific obsessions. Funny thing is that what drove me to draw was a animator called Vini Veritas that used it to do videos for Newgrounds. And for the young people watching this, Newgrounds is a website that actually still exists, and it's awesome, and I should do a video about it. It's basically the birthplace of online animation. It's amazing. This guy had such a odd, strange way to animate that it was kind of anime, but also wasn't. He made animations about this fantasy world that featured a lot of his own culture, and being a Brazilian kid, I identify with that. I longed to see fantasy that had traits of my own culture in it. And it's something that I want to do to this day. And I'm kind of working on that. Well, I grew up, I believed the adults that told me that I drew well. It was a lie, but when I figured it out, it was a lie. I had practiced it enough that I was kind of competent, so it worked out fine. When I had to choose a profession, I talked to my parents and I was like, yeah, I already know that I need to do something creative, but I don't want to sell paintings in the beach. I don't know what to do. And my dad was like, well, you can do architecture. It's kind of creative and it's a respectable, well-paying career. And that's what I did. I'm actually a graduated architect and urbanist, and my graduation research was about how to build affordable hobbit houses. It was really cool. I'll make a video about that later. Well, when I graduated, I expected to work as an architect, but it was 2018 and bad things happened all around the world in the job market. There wasn't any jobs. I was very much unemployed for a long time. That left me in a very deep depression because I really wanted to get my life together. All I wanted to do was work and pay my bills, and I couldn't do that. I ended up going to therapy because I was actually clinically depressed. like really bad, and my therapist was like, well, you love drawing and you abandoned it during college so you could focus on other stuff. How about you go back to that? Worst case scenario, you have a cool hobby to pour your negative feelings to, and best case scenario, you end up working with what you love. And I tried that. During the pandemic, I was all about doing freelance. It was grueling, it was hard because not everybody is really good about hustling online. I can do just fine, but I hate doing that. That's why I'm focusing on YouTube, because it's something that works for me. During that time, I did some hentai and was very well paid for that. It's a odd story that I'm not sure of how much I can talk about it on YouTube, but I also got into streaming. I got kind of a name around me, so I could get, it wasn't stable income, but it was enough for me to get the ball rolling on my career. Being a freelance, it's very romantic. It's very romanticized. Is that the word? Sorry. A lot of people think it's great, it's perfect, and it's actually very hard. You don't have any rest time because all time is work time, because there isn't a split between work and life. You might be well paid, but you can't spend anything on yourself because you don't know your next job will come, and that was very complicated for me. So over time, I decided that I didn't want to be a freelance anymore. I closed down my studio and started working for magazines and editorials and studios as a day job. I have to punch the clock to get inside my job, but that worked. It was great because I had a stable income, and when I got home, I didn't have to draw what other people wanted me to. Because when you are a freelance, you don't draw for yourself, you draw whatever your client wants. And sometimes what your client wants, it's not up to your taste. It isn't that fun. So I started doing a lot of zines and side projects, because when you start working in a stable studio, you can't just stop doing stuff in your free time, because if you want to move up and get a better job, you need to have a portfolio. So if you only do whatever you are required to do during your day job, you won't get better, you won't get enough practice, you won't study at all, and you have very little things that you can actually put on your portfolio sometimes. So side projects was kind of the key to where I got to. Eventually, my current job I got because I've shown my current boss a lot of my zines and how I diagrammed them and how I edited and created images, how I made the text work on the layout. That's how I got to be an illustrator for children's books. It took me a long time to realize that when you work in a art field, it's not your job, it's also your hobby. But it's not only your hobby, it's also your job, and it's very complicated to separate and juggle both things. You have to be able to switch from hobby mode to job mode and sometimes work both at the same time. But doing the side projects and doing stuff, it's what matters, because nobody cares about your degree. It's good to have if you go to an art college and get a good degree. The positive is that you are guaranteed to have all the fundamentals covered, but nobody really cares about that. All that matters is that you can show and prove that you have the skill set to do what you need to do to your clients. Be it a studio that you want to work as a day job or as a freelancer. So in 2025, if you want to get your art career out of the ground, I'd suggest that you don't, doing courses is great, do them because it's fun, because you learn stuff, but don't overfixate on that. Get a side project and do have an idea. Figure out what do you want to do? and start doing that. Make a plan, make a schedule, like I'll do step 1 through 3 over the following months, and you need to have the discipline to follow your plans. If you can do that, like, and start small, like, if you want to be a comic artist, don't do a 60-page story at first. Write 4 pages. Do comic strips. Like, start small and grow over time to have more and more stuff to show for it. Me, I want to, in this year, get my RPG out of the ground. I want to set up the studio, like have a space to record stuff, have a space to paint traditional art and record it for the channel. I want to get my channel out of the ground, like do consistently videos, over 1 video per 2 weeks. And I want to have a space where I can record digital art live. I want to maybe return to streaming. And to do that, I have to have a plan, organize the tasks, what I need to do, and follow through it. I hope you guys liked it. I hope it was helpful to everyone. Like and subscribe. And if you want me to talk about something else, give me a suggestion. I actually read all of my comments. See you guys later.